Hello everyone and welcome back to How to Join the Orb Hoard. This is another episode of an event schedule analysis. And as usual, like all my event schedule analyses, I have a special guest with me. My special guest this time is Postmodern Serial. How are you doing, Post? Feel free to introduce yourself.
Hey guys, I'm Postmodern Serial. You might know me or not, either way. Still a tiny channel. I'm here to do what I typically don't do. I don't speculate about what we're getting. I don't get hyped or cynical about it. I just kind of want to see what happens. But, you know, Link likes to do this, so I was like, you know, why not?
Yeah, and thank you so much for joining me. I appreciate it. I know it's always interesting to have a different perspective on things. Like, I like to speculate and I like to analyze schedules, and that's not your thing, but it's always healthy to have a discussion with two different perspectives on this. So, without further ado, I guess I'm going to put you in the spotlight and let you go ahead and start. What do you think of the event schedule as a whole? Is there anything that really sort of catches your eye or anything you really want to talk about in regards to the event schedule?
I think this is like one of my first few times seeing it. I've seen it float around the roadmap before, but looking at it, I guess, quote unquote, in depth, even though we don't know anything about it, I'm a little overwhelmed by just how many banners there's going to be. Not just the total amount of banners, but how many new ones and how long they're going to be running. It's a little bit scary because as someone who doesn't advocate saving orbs, even though I know that that's what the series is, join the Orb Hoard, I get them, I spend them, I save them for like really short-term bursts, and you never know. Then again, I also buy a ton of packs. I think summoning is still a big thing on my channel. So, I don't know. I guess it's kind of cool, though, that you do this for the people. But in the end, there's going to be a lot of factors. It's going to be what game is being presented in each new banner. What character will you want individually? Will they even have skills that you're looking for? Are you summoning for arena? There's just so much to take into consideration that I don't know if I could cover it all, honestly. But if you're planning to summon on each, that is just going to be brutal, and I think I am, honestly. Usually I tend to summon on every banner at least a day or two once it's released, and I know that, I think if I get this series correctly, I know that you're supposed to wait until like the last day or two to hear some news about the upcoming banner or something like that, so that you don't
pretty much. That's kind of what it is.
Yeah, and then that's kind of smart, I guess. I have to think of it outside of a person who makes summon videos perspective, I guess, because like for me it's like kind of time sensitive to get out. Like no one's gonna care about me summoning for Future Legends and it's last day, right? So I kind of have to do it. I have to do it as soon as possible.
That is very fair. You got to get that content out when it needs to be out.
I mean, it's filler content, but it gets the job done when I need to. But yeah, I guess, yeah, if you're free to play and you're running low on orbs and you see this mess of banners coming out, it is definitely a smart thing to just hang tight a little bit. The only problem I see with that, though, is there might be like a fear of missing out factor, and I think that plays a huge role in why people kind of, even you could have the most willpower, like a ton of willpower. You could have like Green Lantern level of willpower. If anyone gets the reference, if you don't like Green Lantern because of that movie, I'm sorry. It's good, I promise. Go read the comics or watch Justice League even. Not the movie, but the series. Anyway, there you go. Green Lantern, you can't say I didn't do anything for you. You could have all the willpower in the world and still give in to impulse, because essentially what happens when a new banner comes out is, you know, tensions are high. Either people are angry, excited. Like this FE4 banner, this is the happiest I've seen people in a long time. And not everybody in the community, but I mean the vocal, angry dumpster fire crew is finally appeased. And I'm glad. I wish they were like this about everything. And you get people going like, well, I just saw the roadmap. I don't know if I should summon for Lewin. I'm scared. But then I see people with like special Spyro, and it's like, oh man, I want that. Or Rally Plus because I care about Arena. So I don't know. Saving is hard, I guess. I went into that long thing just to come up with common sense, pretty much.
Yeah, I mean, no, you're absolutely right. Saving is definitely very difficult, and I'm not telling people not to pull at all. On the contrary, what we're trying to do is have everyone get the units that they want. And so basically what I try to do is I try to come up with like a target date that will give everyone the best of all worlds and the major insight into like all the different banners. And so you can see just from looking at this schedule that banners overlap in most ways. And so some people, yeah, exactly. And that's because, because you can wait for a specific date. You don't have to summon on a banner initially. All the hype is coming in, these new characters with like the new skills or arena power creep or whatever. And it's like I always have in the back of my mind is there's another banner coming up. You could just wait until the last day, look into the next banner, and then be like, no, I don't like the next one, so I'm going to summon on the one that I originally wanted to summon for. Or you can the next banner can come if you don't really like or not married to the one before it. You're like, okay, this next one is more hype. It's better. I want to summon on that one instead. Or like you were saying for Arena. I mean, we just recently got Quan with his new dual rally upgrade skills, which is like, and I know a lot of people are not happy with that, but
I just gave him up actually, so I'm okay with it. I just need to get a couple more copies and we'll be Gucci. But yeah, anyway, go ahead.
Yeah, and so like if someone had been waiting to say summon for Arena and they were just waiting and waiting and waiting for that banner just for Arena scoring, and they had saved up, that Quan banner would have been perfect. They would have had, 200, 300 orbs for a nice, healthy stab at him if they were free to play. Obviously, if you're going to pay, this mostly goes out the window, but it can help regardless.
Yeah. Well, it depends. Because if you're looking for Dual Rally Plus, you're probably going to be on the upper tier of Arena. And at that point, it gets a little bit harder to save because you need a bonus unit with some decent BST or some merges. Granted, you have the Asker trio, but it's a little bit hard to maximize unless you're like Acarus. It's kind of hard to maximize on the kill with like an Ana or a Sharina. It's not impossible. Yeah, so it makes saving a little bit harder. Then again, a lot of people who care about Arena don't necessarily have to save orbs, so it's kind of like it's a moot point on that one. I like the predictive factor. There's just only so much you can there's only so much you can anticipate, and that's the problem I think with even with this helps a lot. I think if you're someone who has like impulse control problems or you give in to fear of missing out or FOMO, no FOMO, no, I'm just kidding. Anyway, if you're one of those people who's prone to just get those first 5 or first 9, I think this series can help with that a little bit. Just as a reminder, even in the most simplest terms, just a reminder to be like, hey, hold on a sec. And I think some people need to hear that. But as far as like preparing or like waiting for that like banner to come, the only one we know for sure is like Choose Your Legend, and even that was shrouded in a ton of mystery. We didn't know if we were getting it early, if we were getting it at the same time, if we were getting it late. We didn't know what the heroes were going to be like. Yet people save anywhere from 1,000, couple hundred, 2,000 orbs so they could plus 10 their hero, because the only thing they knew is that they liked the hero, and that was it.
Yeah.
With
Guilty as charged.
Yeah, with these you have no clue. Even on the last day, you don't know if the banner coming up is going to be one that you even care about, or it might be one that you care. Here's the worst case scenario is like, okay, you wait for the last day, and then it's a banner you like just as much as the one that's out right now. Then what do you do? Do you split your orbs? Do you summon for one? Do you prioritize? I guess you have to prioritize, especially if you only have a limited quantity. I just think that no matter what you do, you're going to find yourself in a situation where you're going to have to either give something up, or you're going to be caught unprepared, or a banner's just going to come at you too hard, and it just sucks. I mean, look at this whole thing, and the thing that stands out right now is that special heroes, and then granted, seasonal banners are their own special hell, but just the sheer amount that we're getting, and then boom, here's the holiday one, and you're just like, oh my gosh. I just did this careful balancing act of spending and saving and spending and saving, and now there's like I don't know, Halloween Deirdre or something. Like, what do I do? What do I do? Like,
yeah, so, I mean, the first one you said, you brought up a very good point, which was what if the banner that comes has a unit that I want equally as much on the banner that is already existing? So let's allude to the schedule right here. So say the New Heroes Doorway to Destiny one, which is the current banner with Genealogy. Me personally, I'm a huge fan of Genealogy. Everyone who watches my content knows that, and it had Lewin on it, who was one of my major wants, and I didn't wait to pull for Lewin in that case, which is something I definitely advocate for. If you see a target unit that is absolutely a unit that you love and desire, go for it. I'm not going to stop you. I'm not going to make you wait. I'm not going to make you kill your hype. If that is a unit that you know and you love and is one of your all-time favorites, go for it. But say I wanted, Lewin was not on the banner, and say I like Quan from Genealogy, but I'm not in love with Quan. I just want him because he's a special character from one of my favorite games. But I have the willpower to wait. So this banner ends on the 20th of September. We have the next one on the 14th of September. Let's say the next one was on the 21st of September. Usually we get a trailer a couple days before, so we'll have that trailer right before the end of the current banner. Let's say it was a Thracia banner with Fergus, who is another character that I really like in Thracia, but I'm not in love with enough. So equal to Quan, let's say. And I know I want both. Well, the next banner is going to be going for a couple more weeks anyways. And so in this situation, I would definitely try and go for Quan, because his banner is ending. I would try to get Quan, and say I'm able to get Quan before the banner ends. Fantastic. I can stop pulling on the banner and then wait until the end of the next one to pull for Fergus. So in that way I've got Quan, I've got a few orbs in my back pocket, I can wait until the end of the Fergus banner to accumulate orbs, which is something people don't realize. We get 300 to 350 orbs a month on average.
Yeah, definitely.
And so, exactly. And so if you're waiting for 2 weeks, 3 weeks, some of these banners are 3 weeks long or a month long. If you're waiting for the entirety of that banner, you've got a decent stash accumulated of orbs. Like 200 orbs over 2 weeks is not unheard of. And so like even if you look at this schedule here, we've got 6 login bonuses. Each login bonus is about 20 orbs, if I'm remembering correctly. That's 120 orbs just from login bonuses. Then you've got Tempest Trials Plus, that's another 42, so that's 162. And then you've got the Bound Hero Battles and the Legendary Hero Battles. That's a bunch of orbs. If you haven't done them, that's 10 orbs from a Bound Hero Battle. If it's a repeat, that's another 5. Legendary Hero Battle, I think, is 10, and an accessory if you can clear the Abyssal. And then you have the Book 2 quests, the 3 Heroes quests, the special orb promos if you get those, and the new chapters, the Voting Gauntlet, Grand Conquests. That's a lot of orbs.
It is. The math makes it sound so comforting and reassuring. And yet we also have situations where you end up saving that much and then you get pity broken.
Oh, absolutely.
By, let's say you're a diehard FE4, FE5 fan, and you get pity broken by, I don't know, Lucina, regular one at that, so you didn't even get the cool brave one. You're just like, oh no, I hate this game. All my willpower and saving and coordinating and preparing didn't mean anything because I got pity broken and now I have no orbs. And
it happens.
Yeah, it happens. So what do we say to them?
I mean, that's the random number generator. It can happen if you hoard orbs, and it can happen if you don't hoard orbs. And, you know, it's hard luck, but what you do by hoarding orbs is you give yourself, I won't say the best chance, but you give yourself the most amount of chances to go for the unit that you desire, but also an outlook into the future.
It's definitely a chance versus chaos thing. It really depends on the person, I guess, because sadly this game doesn't have the most mature community, especially when we get news. Like when stuff gets confirmed, it's either hype or salt, and everyone in between just kind of doesn't partake in the salt fest or hype fest. So I don't know, someone who coordinated, planned, used all their willpower to get 160 or even 300 orbs, and they waited for that banner, and they got 1 or 2 pity breakers, and they're stuck with no orbs. I don't know. It would take a ton of maturity for that person to be like, hey man, that's just RNG. Whereas we, on the other hand, would be able to tell them that. I don't know if they'll listen, because you hit Reddit pages on the first or second day of a new banner, or on the last day of an older banner, and people just, man, they just let loose. They don't believe in RNG, they don't believe in 3%, and Fae is a terrible game, and gambling is a blah, and it's just, oh, you hear every ridiculous thing. Or they track free-to-play orbs. That's my favorite one. Luckily, we have your stream to refer to for that. You got a legendary in 900 orbs, which is a pretty good. It's somewhere between like average and great luck. So
that was fantastic luck. I am not allowed to complain about RNG ever again in my life. Like, that is it. I'm not allowed to be salty about RNG. I'm only allowed to be thankful.
So that's the thing. Like, this series is catered really well to people who can handle disappointment in any degree, and they just need to be reminded that any careful planning won't mean anything in the end to chaos and chance. That they're doing this to hopefully do it, and that there's still a good chunk of pity break waiting for them, and that's just a harsh reality. I think that a message, if this video series is just a reminder to save and hang on and maximize on your orbs, then it should also serve as a reminder that RNG is a thing, and none of this might make a difference this month or the next month. It really all depends.
Yeah, there is no guarantee, and I usually say this a lot, and it's like people look at 6%, and I don't like to look at 6% because that is your chance of success. I like to flip it and look at the 94% chance of failure that you have.
Yeah, that's a good way to do it. And then you get surprised if you get it. You get pleasantly surprised.
Exactly.
So we're reminding everyone out there to be a healthy cynic. Like, do your best, hope for the best, expect very little, and then either way it's good. If you expected very little and got little, then you're good. If you expected little and got the unit you wanted, you'll just feel that much better. So curb your expectations, I guess.
Yeah, that's very fair. That is very fair. I mean, I've had a lot of people come up to me and say, I've hoarded 200 orbs and then I spent them all on a banner and I didn't get anything, not even a 5-star. And I go like, well, you know, your pity rate is what, up to 5.5%, 6%? That's like, multiply it by 2 for a 5-star, that's 12%. That's still an 88% chance of failing. That's not unreasonable.
It's definitely crazy. I just don't like when they spiral into it, because then they go into how their luck is so terrible. But then they're also looking for like confirmation bias, because they don't factor in like all the times they've gotten a free 5-star or a free 5-star off of their first summon or something like that. So it's just a lot of it's a lot of people who don't really know how to handle disappointment, and I don't know how to handle them, I guess, because it doesn't help to appeal to reason. Maybe they just need a vent. Maybe they just need to be angry. But then what it comes down to is that the community over time just turns into a salt fest. And I know I use that term a lot, but like, you go, especially on Reddit, oh my gosh. There's not a day that doesn't go by that I don't think about deactivating that account. But you go on the threads and it's just like the most upvoted stuff is just people being mad. And it's just, it turns you off on it. Like, Smash with the whole Bayonetta thing. Like, at a certain point, people who aren't normally vocal were getting, kind of annoyed with just wherever they looked for Smash content, there was somebody complaining, and that just kills the experience for everybody. Maybe it doesn't kill it outright, but it makes it a drag for everyone. Like, here's your bad luck and your anger, and now it's spreading like crazy, and that's just no fun. There's nothing you can do here.
Yeah. Random
number generator, orb saving, planning. Just like life, it's gonna go in a weird way sometimes, and it's gonna go the way you plan sometimes. That whole, like, what's that cheesy cliche that you want to make God laugh, make a plan, like you want to make sure that you end up disappointed, plan something in Fire Emblem Heroes, plan your summon. You're gonna be you might be pleasantly surprised. I don't know.
I guess I'm gonna start putting disclaimers at the beginning of my hoard videos. This video does not guarantee you a 5-star after hoarding.
I think, see, that's the worst part, is you could do that, you're still gonna get that comment from that guy who got the 7 or 8%. Granted, if they're just upset a little bit, like if they're just like, man, that sucks, and then you're like, yeah, I feel you, bro. I know what you mean, man. And then that's cool. Then you just fist bump and just like drink like a, I don't know, oh, this is YouTube. You drink like a tea or something. And then that's it. That's where it has to. It doesn't have to go any further than that. It doesn't have to go to table flipping. It doesn't have to, not for nothing, Link, but it doesn't have to go into declarations of quitting or all that other jazz. I mean, I'm just saying.
Calling me out here, are we?
I don't want to drag it out, but I'm just saying it doesn't need to get excessive, right? This game is going to disappoint you in multitudes, and it's going to make you happy in multitudes, and it's never going to seem balanced at any given time. If things are going well in the game, you're barely going to notice it. You're going to be like, oh, cool, I got him, sweet. But then if you get disappointed, I mean, that feels so much worse, but it's going to happen. Like, I know I can't speak for the free-to-play experience anymore. I was free-to-play up until the Echoes banner. God, that feels like a long time ago. And I just was not going to let Delthea pass me up. I let all the old meta units like Ike, Azura, Ryoma, they all, I missed that whole window because I couldn't get a single copy. But I told myself that if Delthea ever made it to the game, I would not let her go, and I did. Spent my first, I think, $20, not even a lot. And I got her after getting like 2 Matildas, which was terrible. And I was feeling pretty scared at the time. And I was like, cool, I got Delthea. And then every other bandit that came along, I was like, okay, let me spend certain amount. But like a lot of people see that's like a lot of those people who planned and coordinated and didn't get what they wanted after a ton of time and willpower. They'll look to the people who spend, and then they'll make them like their scapegoat. Like, oh, they're guaranteed to get their unit. They bought a giant pack. Watch a Phoenix Master video every now and then.
Oh yeah, some of those are painful.
Yeah, he goes painful. Almost 400 orbs sometimes and gets all pity breakers, or gets one copy of a unit that maybe he wanted, but it wasn't like the main priority, and it's minus attack. Like, there's literally the only guarantee in this game for people who are summoning or planning or saving and spending whatever is whoever the hell is in the top like 60 or 100 in arena and can plus 10 a bonus unit every single season. Like, those are the only people who for sure can summon on this and just not.
Bottomless wallets.
Yeah, I don't know who they are. I don't know if they're using that weird orb scam thing, or if they're really wealthy, or both. I know, you know how the wealthy love to save money. They're like the cheapest people I know, yet they spend a ton. So that's the only guarantee. So the truth is, like, for everyone in between, even people who seem whale-ish, like 300 orbs is funny that turns into a whale term, because I mean, we have your stats a little bit, right? It takes like what, 1,000, more or less 1,000 to plus 10 somebody. Maybe a little more depending on how.
I mean, I would say that's being very generous. I think it's more around 1,500 to 1,800 for a proper plus 10. I got super lucky, so I'm definitely not representative. I know Aki Gaming did a summoning for plus 10 CYL Hector, and he did it in just over 1,800 orbs. So I think that's probably closer to the average.
Yeah, so that's what it comes down to too, and it's just funny because I think from the free-to-play perspective, anyone that spends, unless it's like the Orb promo or something, it's just this evil enemy who gets everything they want. And it just cracks me up because even 300 orbs, which does seem like a lot, especially when you're buying it every 2 weeks, is not even close to... And here's where the terminology gets a little weird, but it's not even close to like true whale territory. Like, like a real whale can plus 10 anyone they want upon release. And it's disgusting. But that's what they can do. Everyone in between might seem whalish for early dolphinish tier. If you can't control your IVs or your merges, or you're not guaranteed to get the unit, you're not really a whale here. And even in the free-to-play community, I think the terms that get tossed around are so ridiculous, man. You get the true free-to-play.
I've recently had a lot of backlash from the free-to-play community because people see a plus 10 CYL Hector and they're like, you are a whale. And I'm like, well, no, I've kind of been saving for 6.5 months, and I had 2,619 orbs when I went in on that banner. And they're all free to play. I just have a plus 10 premium unit because I saved up so much. But people see whatever plus 10 new 5-star premium unit is around, and they just quickly assume.
Yeah.
And
there you go.
They're quick to point the finger. So
there you go. So this in the end, it's just like, don't assume things, don't expect things. This is just a reminder, not even of the game itself. It's just a reminder of like how to like curb your reactions. Like, just take everything really chill, relax. Expectations, good or bad, whatever you end up getting, who cares? Like, Not even who cares, like, oh, I don't care if you got pity broken. Like, more like, who cares? Like, just try to shake it off, man. It's hard. It is really hard. But here's the biggest thing. Especially, I don't know if it's just because the internet amplifies it or it becomes it's easier to vent here, but if people don't handle disappointment well here in the game, and that's a model for how they handle disappointment in real life, I don't want to see what happens in their real life. Like, what is their life like? How do they handle, oh, my boss called me in for an extra shift, or they raised my rent after a couple months? Like, how do they handle that kind of thing? Or do they? Do they not have anything? I don't know. I can't speculate as to what their lives are like, but I wonder how they handle disappointment.
I mean, the internet, primarily why we see so many extremes in the internet and so many vocal, powerful voices. Not powerful in a sense that they're strong opinions that are well thought out, but powerful in the sense that it's a very emotional projection, is that the internet is a very unfiltered place for people to go and say whatever they want. They're not trackable. There's no person-to-person interaction. There's no, even for the most part, voice interaction. Like, we talk over voice right now, but even then we can say things that we probably might not say in person because, you know, and that's why people are quicker to project their emotions on the internet unfiltered.
Definitely. And I don't know if it's a maturity thing, but I don't really disassociate it, I guess. Like, I feel like I react more or less. You know, I can't do popcorn emoji in real life, but for the most part, I guess from my perspective, for the most part, I just kind of do the same thing. I don't really change it up very much. But then I know for some, it's an escape, a mask, whatever it needs to be, and that's cool. Not hating on you guys, but I really hope that this kind of dumpster fire approach doesn't leak into their actual lives, because I'd just be like, not even, what is it, critical of their approach, just more like sympathetic. Like, I really hope you guys don't start dumpster fires over the littlest things in real life, because, man, it's not gonna go well if that's how you handle stuff. Yeah.
Deep, man. This is what an Orb Hoard, this is like the deepest Orb Hoard video I think I've ever done. So
I don't know about that. It's all really common sense. It's a lot harder to follow than it sounds, though, obviously. But it's just a reminder to people to just chill out. We just saw Flora, and then that starts a whole nother tangent of conversation. We saw Flora. People are like, all this new stuff is gonna be Fates and Fates Awakening and Unbalance and where's FE6, and it's like, I don't. Oh my gosh, because it's so hilarious. Like, going back to your you save 350 orbs a month thing, like, that's freaking awesome. That is great. I couldn't do it because I have no impulse control, and I spend and I do summon videos anyway, so I wouldn't really be able to save. But for the people saving, any banner is good news. And I say this like unequivocally. Any banner is good, because if it's a banner you don't like, if it's units you don't like, or a game you apparently hate, which is so weird to get into, because as a Fire Emblem fan, not even a Awakening, Fates, FE4, whatever the heck game you want to pick, I just like Fire Emblem, the entire series. Like, it has good games, bad games, whatever. I've played more or less a good chunk of them, and I still want to play more. This game has only made me want to play all of them, which is pretty cool, and even do replays of the ones I've already gone into. So as just a Fire Emblem fan, not a Fates fan, not a Genealogy fan, not a Shadow Dragon or whatever else, Radiance, I don't know why people try to draw up it. You're gonna have your favorites, but drawing up artificial boundaries is just ridiculous. It's all Fire Emblem in the end. And even if you can't get past your preferences and bias for certain games, or just innate superiority, apparently, if you can't get past that,
I mean, this conversation goes a lot deeper than than it really is in terms of, you know, favorite games and stuff like that, but I see where you're going with it.
I know that there's a serious imbalance and a recency bias in Fed, and you know, that's sad. But think about it this way, like, if everybody who couldn't get past their own bias for their favorite game got slammed with a Fates banner, and then an Awakening banner after that, and then a Fates banner after that, and then an Awakening banner after that, and they just hated it and they were having a horrible time, why not take this as an opportunity to, especially in your case where you managed to save orbs for, like, I think a year? Was it a year?
6.5 months.
6.5. Look at that. Not even a year. 6 months. What is 6 months? It's a drop of water in the ocean of time.
Yeah.
Like, I kid you not. Anyway, at least it feels like that. I don't even remember what I had for breakfast, let alone 6 months from now. Okay, but anyway, if you can't get over your own bias or preferences for certain games, and you get these banners from games that you apparently detest, right? I'm trying my best to capture the perspective of there. and then you get angry. But like, why? You don't like this banner, you don't like that unit, save up, dummy. Like, it's just the most, like, the easiest thing in the world. Like, oh man, they took forever to give us some FE4 banners. Okay, yeah, but in that forever that you're referring to, you could have saved, I don't know, 1,000 orbs, 2,000. You could have gotten all the Quans, you could have gotten all the Luwins. Who else is on that banner? The dancer lady? I don't know.
Sylvia.
If you want. Yeah, I don't know if anyone really wants to summon for her, but yeah, you could have gotten Sylvia. She just looks really like demote fodder. But it's hard to say. Could be Quan. I hope it's Quan. Hell,
oh, we'll have to wait and see.
Yeah, that's one of those things. It's speculation. I don't really. They could demote no one, and I wouldn't bat an eye. I don't really care. But if I'm gonna be that really angry person that's gonna point out how like everything's imbalanced and stuff, I'm just gonna be like, I could answer them with just like, take this as an opportunity to save. Literally, all these new banners, if they're Fate's Awakening, that's a whole month where you don't have to summon, dude. Wait for your banner.
And it's also a paralogue or a story chapter.
There's a what?
There's also a paralogue with it or a story chapter, so that's also more orbs.
Yeah, there you go. That's all I see is a chance to save. If it's a banner you hate, it's a chance to save. If it's a banner you like, hey, it's time to, bust out my Orb Hoard. Time to throw it at something and get like a shiny +10 or all the units in that banner. So I don't know. I don't get how they don't see. They get tunnel vision, I think. That's the problem, right? They're so focused on the underrepresentation of some of the games that they like. They don't stop to think about the saving opportunities, and that this game, for all its flaws, plays it safe, yeah, but at the same time they ensure its survival. They've made sure that whoever is in charge of this, some investor, some shadow CEO or executive, whatever, they're happy as hell. And that's what we got to focus on.
I mean, yeah, the game's made over $400 million, so clearly they're doing something right.
Yeah, so that's the goal. At the end of this is all one big, well, not even big, it's just a tiny little capitalistic example, right? It has to turn money and not... I hear the term all the time, it's like, they've made enough money, can I just get my FE6 banner? And I'm like, according to who did they make enough money? Because this game could make double what it makes in a day, all the time. And according to whatever CEO or investor at Nintendo, that's not enough. That's not how capitalism works. You never stop. You essentially bleed something till it's dry. That's just a horrible, terrible mess, right?
Yeah.
And that's just the harsh reality. And recency bias.
It is, yeah.
Recency bias sells orbs. That's just what's going on.
It's
right
totally
now.
true. They don't really care about canon. They don't really care about the past. They don't really care about even the present. What they're doing is they're looking towards the future and preserving their longevity.
I mean, I guess I'll go with that, yeah. Well, I don't know about canon, because this is like a fan game where all the heroes show up in one, so I wouldn't bring up canon in this. The game is essentially one giant Easter egg, and fan celebration, which is hard to say because I know not all the games get thrown in at once, but I see it as a chance to save. If you really detest these units or games so much, you're going to be pretty disappointed because this resurgence into Fire Emblem was always a thing. It was, something that I think had a cult following for a while. The games, they did well, they didn't do well. Nintendo treated it as kind of like a kind of a precarious situation, and then you got all these Awakening people and all these newer fans, and then you got like a lot of that carried over into Fates, thankfully, because even though Awakening might have quote unquote saved us, if anything else after it did terrible, then we would have been right back where we started. Thank goodness for that. Then what is it? We have 3 houses. People are super excited about that. Even the people who hate all the new stuff are excited for a console version of Fate, which I find interesting. But
yeah, I mean, I'm not the biggest fan of the way that Awakening and Fates had taken Fire Emblem. I'm not a hater at all. I just prefer the way the older ones were. But with 3 houses, I can definitely see some balance of both. So I'm excited for it.
And that's okay. There's nothing wrong with liking the older stuff. It just comes down to when those same people who feel a certain way about the newer stuff just decide to like make it a horrible time. Like I can't go on a public forum. Literally can't do it. I mean, I can do it, but it won't go well. If I go on a public forum and say, hey, I want to see this unit from Fates, that'd be cool, like Selkie or Scarlet. People will just throw in like, you've gotten so many Fates banners, and you're just kind of sitting there like, all right, a lot of those were alts, but I just kind of want to see this unit. I don't know if I'm going to see them this year, this month, next month, and I don't really mind when they show up. I think about it this way, like Fire Emblem in itself and Fae especially, it's just a series of untapped markets, and every market gets tapped proportional to how much money they're going to make. They got some big brain dudes on the other side, maximizing profits, maximizing the way we're going to spend. If you're a whale and you already have your arena team, here's Dual Rally Plus. You better summon for Quant, or else you're going to get dropped out of Crown Tier. If you're a fan of the newer stuff, you know, you get a banner every couple of months. If you're a fan of the older stuff, you have to wait a little longer, but hey, here's all the characters you get from the first level of Fire Emblem 4. Like, it's pretty fucking cool.
And I gotta say, Fire Emblem 4 has not gotten banners with alts on it, so
yeah,
people
you guys
who are
are
fans
lucky.
of Fire Emblem 4, yeah,
you guys
exactly.
are lucky as hell. Like,
Yeah,
not
fantastic.
for nothing, but I like I said, I like Fire Emblem in general. I like all, like, the series. I'm glad it's here. So no banner's gonna be bad for me, but eventually I do get a little bit of alt fatigue with, like, Fates especially. Like, I like Camilla, I love Xander, but man, I really want to see like some Kitsunes in here, or some you know, some beast units, or heck, even the spider from Sacred Stones. Like, let's go. But I also understand that for this game, for its longevity and for it to continually bleed profit, they're gonna have to release stuff as slow and as steady as possible. Just when we start to get fatigued with what we have, just when we start to get like, all right, is this it? Boom, beast units. Like, oh my god, all my orbs, get them all, get all my money, get all my orbs. Even
I mean, Book 2 is ending. It's almost time for 3.0. Speculation here, but maybe beast units. Who knows?
Maybe not even beasts. Maybe monsters first, or maybe if we do get beasts, it'll just be the flying guys, or from Path of Radiance, Radiant Dawn, whatever.
Yeah, the Tellius games.
Sure. I don't know. I'm not gonna try to say it if I don't know. But those guys, there's just so many different games that they've yet to go into, and all that means is that the game, for the most part, is probably gonna stick around for a while. They have good plans for it. So for everyone out there who's frustrated with not getting who they want on banners or whatever, save it up, man. Save it up. Use the free units. We get free units. So that's freaking ridiculous. A lot of people go into like, oh, other gachas let you get a free summon every day. Other gachas fucking die. Like, I'm not gonna lie, they straight up.
Or they have atrocious rates.
They die, yeah. Or their rates, their summon rates are like 0.0 something. I don't know the math. I'm not a big brain here. I'm not. Like, you can tell the way I'm not articulating any of my points. They're summoning whatever the heck mechanic they have is usually worse. Usually, I don't know if it's better, or if it's better, the game is just not popular enough and it just flakes off. Like, I cannot tell you how many people were excited about Shin Megami Tensei or Star Ocean or whatever, and then that was like hype, and I'm like, oh, I'm so glad to take a break from Fe, or I think I might be done for Fe. And then it's like those same people who were saying this are like, oh yeah, the game got kind of lame, or it was grindy. Like, this game has a weird capture on us, and I don't know if it's just because we're Fire Emblem. A lot of people who play it aren't even Fire Emblem fans. They just love this game. And
I think it's also the Fire Emblem fan base. I've been a part of the Fire Emblem fan base for 15 years now, and the one thing that all Fire Emblem fans can agree on is they love Fire Emblem. I don't think I've seen anyone who hates Fire Emblem.
I hope so.
I mean, you talk to them and like they might hate on certain games, but that's only out of their passion and their idealism for what they want Fire Emblem to be.
But see, that's already a problem, because you can dislike something. Heck, you can even not care for it. But when you go out of your way to hate it, that's actually putting in energy and stuff that could be used with just being chill. Like, that's the downside. Or maybe we're using hate informally a little bit. But there are people who downright do that. And you can like your stuff. You can be as passionate as you want about your preferences and favorites and the world that you grew up with. A lot of these are people who grew up with, this was my first Fire Emblem game, therefore it's the best game. I'm not going to debate them on that one. at all. I'm not even going to debate which game is better than which. But
you can't really debate nostalgia.
Exactly, or preference. That's a moot point. That's subjective. But what you can debate is you can be like, hey man, when you go out of your way to not, you can like your thing, you can say it's better, but when you go out of your way to just make that the conversation for newer fans, like you're making the community look bad. It's just that's not up for debate. You can there's a rule in my Discord server. I know people are gonna listen to this and be like, this Discord server sounds like a prison camp or something. Well, it's whatever. There's an elitism clause in my server because it's just not something I'm gonna handle. Like you can like everything you like and be passionate and have all these cool things to say about it, but the second you veer into crapping on other stuff because of that, you're done. You're an elitist. You got to get out of here. Like that's just it. I don't think you need to do that to prove your point or to show that you like. You don't. I guess the gist of it is, you don't have to hate on something else to prove that you like something or that something else is better in your opinion. You don't have to.
Fair enough. Yeah, there are mature and good ways to have conversations with people and disagree and present your ideas.
That brings us back to, I guess, an overarching theme in here is that maturity is a huge problem in this. Like, or at least from a very vocal minority, maturity is a problem here. Guilty sometimes of it. You know, we're all human. But I think we need to start changing our perspectives a lot, especially if we want this, because the game's longevity is more or less assured as long as we spend, or not, maybe not in this series, but overall people are going to keep spending. But the community is the other thing that can kill it. Like if the game is profitable and people are playing it, but then the outlets for discourse on the game are all just angry, bitter people, then that kills the game faster than any Fates Awakening banner or any power creep can. And that's just the harsh reality. Hopefully that doesn't happen. Like I said, I don't want to speculate, but we can prevent that. We can have an open mind. We can react to disappointment or things that we don't like adults. And granted, you know, there are teens who play this, but hey, that's part of growing up, man. You can handle disappointment in two ways. You can be like, man, that sucks, and you can make that sentence anything you want. It's kind of existential if you think about it, because that's the only thing you can say to like death, which is like the end. But I don't want to get that far into it.
I think we've gone deep enough into life and the connection to gaming and the internet and all that so far.
But you really should, because they're all a representation of how you handle yourself in life, I think. And people.
Absolutely. I mean, I'm planning on an upcoming video for Orb Hoarding that discusses, you know, some kind of impacts of playing gacha games on the real life situation of people. So I'm definitely going to get deep into that. But speaking of orb hoarding, and this video is getting pretty long, I hate to stop such a compelling argument, but like the cleaners at work want to come into this room. So
oh yeah, no, I got you, dude. I think we went over the 30 minutes we said too. So.
Oh, we're at like 43 minutes, but this has been fantastic. Like I don't think I'm going to cut any of this because it's such a good and engaging conversation that I think a lot of people would benefit from hearing.
For sure, man.
But I suppose before we finish off, to get back to the main point of the video and what is the event schedule. And usually I like to pick a specific date to tell people so that they don't have to decipher this on their own, is what date would be perfect for them to wait for. And there's always an issue when I pick this date, and it's been consistent for like the past 4 or 5 months. It's not any sort of pattern, or maybe IS does this on purpose. Maybe they watch my videos, who knows? But the Legendary Hero banner always throws a wrench in my plans. Like we said, you can plan as much as you want, but this is always, and it's always right in that middle of that schedule to remind me that, nope, we're not going to give you that perfect date. But I'll summarize really quickly, because we've been dragging on so long. There's 2 new Heroes banners, one on September 14th, one on September the 21st. And then we have the Special Heroes one on October 10th. Now, what all 3 banners share in common is all of them. Well, the new Heroes summoning events will both be live until October 9th, and by October 9th, we will have gotten a trailer for the Special Heroes summoning event. That much is pretty much confirmed. And so, if you wait until October 8th or October 9th, I think that is the best date if you want to get full perspective on both new Heroes banners and the Special Heroes, which it might be Halloween. Who knows? It could be. but it's going to come at the cost of missing out on a legendary hero.
Ooh. Yeah, that's interesting. Well, that's all the motivation of the player, if they even need the legendary hero or if they care to wait for it. I can't. I'm gonna go with my answer with as vague as I've been with everything else, and that not vague, but more just a reminder that there's just too much uncertainty. It's kind of like when you are into somebody, girl, guy, whatever, I don't judge, and you're waiting for that perfect moment to go hit them up or whatever. There is none. There's no perfect moment. You could either click it or not. You know, you could end up being completely. You could crash and burn after waiting for so long or planning and coordinating. And I know it's weird, right? Like using Orb Hoard as or creating an analogy between Orb Hoarding and asking somebody out, but it's kind of that. You plan a day, you plan what you're gonna say. Could go well, could not. So for me, there's just no perfect moment. It's either gonna go well or it's not.
and that's totally fair. It's a difference of perspective, and it's good for people to hear both sides of it. For me, it's October 8th and October 9th if people want to, look at all three banners. And for you, maybe it's like you see a banner, you want to pull, you want to enhance your arena team, you want to get ahead, you have the passion for the units, and that's all good.
It's whenever and nowhere at the same time, I guess.
Yeah, exactly.
Alrighty.
Anyways, that has been the latest episode of How to Join the Orb Hoard with Postmodern Serial. Before I let you guys go, I'm going to give Postmodern Serial a chance to plug himself. Postmodern Serial, take it away.
Hi. I didn't know I was going to get this opportunity. Don't watch my stuff, guys. You're not going to have a good time. Please don't. Okay.
That's a lie. You guys got to watch his content. He makes fantastic content. Join his Discord. Go spam his comment section with linking brought us here. Show him the love. Show him the hype. Thank him for fantastic collaboration and getting into some really interesting conversation that I never thought we would have on an orb hoarding video.
Yay. Alrighty, man.
All right. Without further ado, that is Linking signing out.